Moin.
Moin.
Bitte.
Danke.
Was haben wir, was in deiner Robe?
Ja, ich habe 2 eingesaut und die dritte haben meine Kinder halt versaut, weißt du?
Ja gut, ist nicht so schlimm diesmal, wir müssen nicht so formal vorgehen, das sind Amerikaner. Ja.
Ja, ist das Neger?
Ja, richtig. Aber man muss sagen, das ist ein talentierter Musiker. Er macht echt gut Musik, ja.
Klassische Musik? Warum ist er hier?
Er wurde am Flughafen von Polizisten kontrolliert, weil er Stress mit einer Ticketkontrolleurin hatte. Und die Polizei hat Marihuana bei ihm gerochen, hatte allerdings nichts bei, aber dafür haben sie Plastik, Sprengstoff und Waffen gefunden.
Also Drogenschmuggel und terroristischer Hintergrund.
Nee, Drogenschmuggel nicht, aber ja, ein terroristischer Hintergrund eventuell müssen wir checken. Naja gut, wir sehen uns dann auf jeden Fall am Wochenende bei deinem Haus, ja?
Ja, bring ein paar kranke Leute mit.
Ja, mach ich auf jeden Fall. Wir sehen uns.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Zieh durch, ne? Oh. Wo ist dein Rechtsanwalt?
Your Honor, I'll be representing myself because no one knows the story as good as I do. No, I'm not a lawyer, but I've studied a bit of law and I've actually lived with a lawyer for a few years in my life. I know the game, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, court is now in session. The Prince of Dance versus Andrew Weatherall, and the Sabres of Paradise and David Holmes.
In 1993, Andrew Weatherall and the Sabres of Paradise covered my song. The illegal part was the name change. They didn't ask, they didn't request, they just did it. That's illegal, and that's where the trouble starts. A few years later, a big publishing company did come to me and offered me a contract for the song, the publishing of the song, and they did give me a lot of money, which included me accepting that name change. But that was also after the fact, and the fact remains he changed the name illegally. Yes, I signed a contract giving it that name, but that still has nothing to do with the action that he made years before. The original song is called New Age of Faith. In 1988, I wrote it, I produced it, and I dropped it, attempting to give this earth more light. The culprits changed the name from New Age Faith to Smoke Belch. And the name of them, listen closely, the Sabres of Paradise. A saber is a knife, a sword, cutters of paradise. So you see, this goes very deep from the beginning. For about 29 years now, the Sabres of Paradise, Andrew Weatherall, and a remixer have ciphered lots of money from me. Money ciphered for mixes falsely claimed as written by him, when indeed it was my writing. There is one remix done by another that one he can claim, they can claim all writers' rights, but there's only one. And they have his name on different mixes and different this and different that, and he had nothing to do with it. Or even if he did it, he used my melody anyway.
The Prince of Dance versus United Kingdom's Music Rights Organization and MCA Records.
There's a UK music organization that handles all the publishing for United Kingdom artists. And I had a music manager named Megan G. Gerald go on that website, and we followed up on my song, and she wrote an email the next day or that day, and within 2 days the song was removed from the website. And to me, Your Honor, that doesn't mean anything because the money is still moving not into my hands. So the problem is, MCA Records and I don't know of them, and if they know of me, it's through another's name, but my song was on their website. And obviously making lots of money for someone. They did change the info, but they didn't change the money flow. So the question is, where's the money?
The Prince of Dance versus Pete Tongs and Jewel Buckley.
Pete Tong put together a classic house album, whereas he took classic house songs and redid it with an orchestra. This compilation went gold in England. And if I'm correct, that sold over 1 million copies. I didn't even get an email, a thank you, a letter, a holler. I got nothing. And I saw it climb the charts myself. The orchestra and the composer of the orchestra, they toured the world performing this album. And I will say, because I know it's here in Germany, O2 Stadium or O2, whatever it's called, they've performed in places such as that. I actually stumbled across this online. And when I did, wow, a classical orchestra is now playing this song. The publishing game is on another level of dance music, meaning much more money. I contacted them because every performance of that song, I should get some money. I've got none. I contacted the composer. I tried to contact Pete Tong. Here's what happened. Pete Tong's management told me we will let him know he needs to get with me. Never heard from him. The man who actually conducted the orchestra, I did contact him. I gave him the story and told him what I needed. All I needed was every concert ticket, schedule, the program. I need the program to send to not my publisher, but I need the program to send to Gamer and to BMI to show them this was performed here and there, and then I can make my money. Now, if the composer doesn't know this, which of course he does, but he sent me a bunch of bullshit, to put it plainly, and not what I asked for, not what he must know that I needed to get payment. So therefore, with all this touring around the world, and I think they were on tour for 2 or 3 years, I got nothing from any performances.
The Prince of Dance versus Faithless producers Sisters Bliss and Rolo.
There's a group called Faithless, which you may know, because they made some pop hits, Your Honor. And some years ago, they did a remix for Fine Young Cannibals, and in that song, they used the same melody that we're speaking of. Exactly. And this was the beginning of the kind of, let's call it, legal problems, because I sent that song to my publisher, whereas they were supposed to contact Faithless or Fine Young Cannibals or their record label and say, hey, this is our song, and start to collect monies for me and for them. They didn't do it, which made me raise an eyebrow and say they must have two things going on, because if they're not protecting me, who are they protecting?
The Prince of Dance versus David Guetta.
David Guetta. He made a song with Kelly Rowland. And I quote Kelly Rowland. I've seen it online, and yes, I do have it on my computer. If I need to get it to you, you guys gotta let me go home first. But she said, after a performance, she went to a club, and where he was playing, he's a DJ, she met him, and at that time, or after that time, they went to his studio, and again, I quote Kelly Rowland. He played a loop of a tribal house song with a beautiful piano melody. Now, first of all, sir, if you hear their hit, it's not tribal. I've been in the studio with people who produce something like this. They'll play a song of someone else, put it on their computer, and follow exactly what that song does. To my disbelief, but I've seen it myself. So he took the cover version, had it in a loop. Kelly Rowland is listening and loving it. That loop had to be Smoke Belch, the second version. From there, that melody stayed, and all other things changed, blah, 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 and then add her voice, pop hit, Grammy, my melody. I whispered that to my publishing company, and they couldn't hear me. I didn't yell, I whispered.
The Prince of Dance versus Coldplay.
Coldplay. And I quote the vocalist of Coldplay. But before I quote him, let's put it into perspective. Please let me put it into perspective. At this time, when the song Clocks, well, even before the song Clocks was released, my song was on radio and TV in England day and night. It was a Vodafone ad, it was a London Times ad, and it was on commercials. From those, I made good money. But here's what, I don't know the lead vocalist of Coldplay's name is, but I quote him as I also saw online, and I can prove it to you, show it to you, when you let me go home. He said, on his way to the studio, it was a weekend, that I'm sure, Friday or Saturday, on his way to the studio, he had a melody in his head. Now let's be a rock star on the way to the studio on a Friday and Saturday night. What are you doing before? I can put a few things what I would be doing if I was a rock star before I go to the studio to make some music. Chilling hard. Could be watching a movie with that song in it. Could be in a taxi, in a limo, in my own car, on my motorcycle, on my fucking skateboard with that song coming on a commercial. I'm in England, that song is on all the time at that time. So he goes into the studio and the first thing he bangs out, which he said online, was this melody. Dun, dun, dun. It's the same melody, sir. And from there, they produced a song which also won a Grammy. Now, if you listen to those two songs, Your Honor, you will hear the same melody, proven again, and to my surprise, on the internet as Coldplay versus Guetta, proving it's the same melody. Mine! Your Honor, if you allow me to actually play some music through the internet for you, I will let you hear these melodies, and we don't have a musicologist here, but I think even pop music ears will understand. If you like classical music, Your Honor, you will definitely understand, and here it's all the same. Originated in 1988 by yours truly, never gotten paid, pissed off for many years, not rich for many years, and I should be.
Ja, wir können ja mal reinhören.
Ja, dann lass uns das mal machen.